come with me. Let's go through the cards. At Saint Vincent, we captured our landscape. We captured our athletes, our national heroes. So let me show you these cards that we have from Saint Vincent. The only negative I have about Saint Vincent phone cards is that I think there were many other important people and natural beauty that could have been captured and placed on these phone cards and been immortalized. And I don't think we did a great job doing that because St. Vincent is way more than what we offered. So what we did is we got a little lazy and we keep reproducing the same card in different series. Here's an example. Well, this is not an example of that, but here's a reproductive set of cards. So here we have, this is Admiralty Bay Beckway. Admiralty Bay Beckway. These are the first set of cards. Again, the large notch are the first set of cards. I'm going to take one out, show you what it looks like. And this is a $10 phone card. Let me know if you remember this card. And this shows the beauty of Beckway. Beckway is the first island in Saint Vincent on the Grenadines, at the beginning of the chain of the Grenadines, the archipelago of the Grenadines. Beautiful sailing island. It is called Beckway. Beckway means land in the clouds. One of my favorite places on earth. Love Beckway. Shout out to Sugar Apple Inn. Always say Sugar Apple Inn when I'm visiting Beckway. Shout out to my friend Sabrina Mitchell and our past Prime Minister, Sir James Mitchell is from Beckway. Our current Prime Minister, Dr. Friday, is from Beckway. But this is Admiralty Bay. Sailors and whalers will come to Beckway. Beckway Easter Regatta was one of my favorite memories when we had a lot of folk dancing. We had the maypoles, we had our punch boards, we have our greasy pole. We had all these things that we did culturally in Beckway. And I think, again, we could have done a lot more photographs with Beckway. We have Princess Margaret Beach, Lowell Bay, Friendship Bay. We have so many great views in Beckway and things we could have captured that we didn't. But this was the very first card, GPT card, that was made. And these cards were made in a $5.40, $10, $20, $40. Why there's so many? Because there's also, let me find it for you, a second series. This is a $5.40 second series. The one that I'm missing, that's supposed to be right here in this spot, is a $5.40 first series. These cards were created and used as test cards or prototypes after we realized it did not work, similar to the 5-unit, and they were destroyed. So if you have the $5.40 Admiralty Bay Beckway, I'd love to have it. I love a chance to create and put it in my collection. This, by the way, is my reference collection. I have a second collection that is done chronologically. Chronologically means series 1 from St. Vincent all the way to series 314, which I'll show you a little bit. So then we have Decade of the Environment. I showed you earlier. I collect cards in what we call a variant. Each card are different. Here, you'll be able to see this is an 8 series. This is a 9 series. This is a 10 series. So each card is different. So this is a perfect example of what I meant when we said we reproduce the cards many times. 3, 4, 5, 7, 7. And here's a variant. The 7 series has a silver background and the 7 series has a white background. Those are two different companies making the same card. So they look a little bit different also in the front. So I collect these cards. So let me know if you collect variants. Variants are super important to extreme collectors, right? We have our bank series that were done. Here's our bank series, Scotiabank. The Scotiabank series were done. Each Eastern Caribbean island has a Scotiabank series. Anguilla, Antigua, St. Kitts, Dominica, St. Vincent, Grenada. They have a Scotiabank series. And then we have advertising cards. These cards are advertising cards where they're starting to advertise credit card booths. Our credit card phone booths really never took off in St. Vincent or anywhere in the Caribbean because per Lynn Fleming, which you can go back and check some of my videos in the past, the credit cards was super expensive. It was like $50 for the first minute and then like So credit card phones were tried to introduce. They were advertised here, but they never took off. But this is a Vincentian version of a credit card phone card being advertised. We also have another general card being listed here. And these are some rare ones. And then I'm going to talk to you about, these are the pager cards. They come different variants because of different color pagers. Collectors will know that. Super collectors know these cards. Now we're going to jump into what we call common cards. What are common cards? Common cards are cards that were created in a high print run. Print run in the Caribbean are usually 10,000, which is a minimum order quantity. On the bigger islands such as Jamaica, well, the biggest island is Cuba, right? Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago. These islands have huge print runs, and huge print runs create a lot of variants. And I collect these variants, but in the smaller islands, the Eastern Caribbean islands, our print run are usually 5,000, 10,000 is the minimum order quantity. But what they will do is they'll divide 10,000 into 2 5s, right? They break them down in some smaller quantities and some different cards also, but usually it is done in halves, 5,000 and 5,000. Here's another example. This is Mount Wayne, Saint Vincent. If you ever visited Saint Vincent, Mount Wayne is 2 lovely beaches. Mount Wayne, we call it, but we put it together and call it Mount Wayne, right? So if you want it in my Vincentian accent, is Mount Wayne, we're going to Mount Wayne. But it's Mount Wayne, and there we have our Carib petroglyph. The Carib is one of the native groups of the Caribbean that settled Saint Vincent. And they're the one that fought the French and the British. After the slave trade begun, the slave intermingled with the Caribs in Saint Vincent, and we created the Garifuna. So that's where we have Garifuna in Saint Vincent. And in a little bit, I'm going to show you our chief Garifuna, Joseph Chatier, who was captured on a phone card and commemorated in a painting. But you go to St. Vincent, you must see the petroglyphs in Mount Wayne. Again, Mount Wayne, 2 beaches. There's a private beach, Mount Wayne, and there's a public beach, Mount Wayne. St. Vincent has some of the most beautiful black sand beaches you will see. One of those, and my favorite, is Kittell's Bay. Kittell's Bay is amazing. I like to go there when it's quiet and no one else. Great for snorkeling. And some of the things we capture on the phone card, I see at Kittell's Bay when I'm snorkeling. So I'll tell you more about that. Here we also have our Carib artifact, not the petroglyph, but this is an artifact, one of the creation that they will use, or demigod. And it says right here, Carib Artifacts, Saint Vincent National Museum. Our museum is in our botanical gardens. Fun fact, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines has the oldest botanical gardens in the Western Hemisphere. 1768, and it is a must visit. In those gardens, also, you'll be able to see our national bird, the Amazonia gildingi, the Vinci parrot, with our blue, yellow, green. It's the only place you can see it as they are in their sanctuary. And you may be able to see it out in nature in the Vermont Nature Trail bird watching section. Below we have Trinity Falls. It is one of our many falls, but it's one of the few that we have access to, which is very accessible by anyone. Trinity Falls is in the north side of our island, very close to the Soufrière volcano. I have never been to Trinity Falls. I hope to visit Trinity Falls this summer when I'm in St. Vincent. But this was the very first phone card I received. First phone card that made me a collector. The 13th series, Trinity Falls. So it has a special place in my heart. And as you see, it is very beautiful. And these cards were created also to help tourism, which I am doing with our phone cards right now. Is to help Vincentian tourism of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to show you some of the things we have that you can visit and see in St. Vincent. Because as I said earlier, many people still do not know St. Vincent exists. Underwater world, St. Vincent is also known for great marine life and scuba diving. And Underwater World had to be captured. So there's a series, Underwater World series. Our Underwater World series begins with the yellow tube sponge, I see many of these when I'm snorkeling every summer. Anemone, giant sea anemone. I haven't seen these in a while. I don't know why, but a giant sea anemone. The last one I saw was on the backside of Young Island, in between Fort Duvenet. So if you go to Saint Vincent, you have to visit Young Island. And behind Young Island, there's another island. It's a little island that juts out of the sea that the French created a little fort with 1 or 2 cannons up there. And it's called Fort Duvenet. Fun fact, our biggest fort is Fort Charlotte. It is 800 feet above sea level in the capital, Kingstown. And when you go to Fort Charlotte, it is still under some construction. But when you visit Fort Charlotte, you will notice that the cannons are facing inland. And that's because our Garifuna people who were rebelling against oppression from the colonizers, they would attack the fort from the land. They would attack the fort from the land, and there will be obviously surprise attack. So the British and the French already had the cannons facing inland because they didn't have the time, because of these sneak attacks, to turn them around to fight our natives. So the Fort Duvenet has some cannons also facing inland, a few facing out. But Fort Charlotte is another location that was never captured on a phone card and immortalized. And I think 100% should have been. So that is another reason. That is another card that could have been. Then we have our beautiful yellow tube sponge. And not yellow tube sponge, but our spotted trunkfish. This is one of my favorite cards, spotted trunkfish. It has been told that if you catch this fish and you cook it the wrong way, you can become intoxicated. So I have never been intoxicated by it. So we'll find out if that's true. Then we have some of our athletes. Netball is one of our major sports. If you don't know about netball, suggest that you research it. And we have an error card. In the phone card world, in the Caribbean phone card world, again, I only collect Caribbean phone cards, and I'll tell you why at the end. There are error cards. These 2 cards are different. 2 different cards. Well, let me put it this way. The first card, you can see, let me line it up. It says 1994. Right? It reads National Netball Team World Championship 1994. They're heading off to the World Championship. But then we realized that this photo in the National Championship was not 1994. So they recreated the card and fixed the typo to 1995. These cards were created 3 times. This card was created 3 times. And there are 3 series. 142, 199, and 243. 3 series. We have the Christmas cards. And then I have one of my favorite, Edward Coombs. Very rare card, the 142 Edward Coombs is also an error card. It was charged wrongly. And the 259 was also charged wrongly. What I mean is when you put this into the booth, you had more money on your card than 10 EC dollars. Very similar to the 259. The 142 for my collector friends is very rare. It's a rarer card. Edward Coombs, if you watch this video, I would love to be able to meet you someday and get your autograph on one of my cards. Definitely not my 142 or 259. Those are rare cards, as I mentioned, and they're hard to come by. Very difficult to find now, obviously through the process of time, but they're difficult to find even back then. I remember this card when it came out. Me and my friend Vincent Reed, shout out to Vincent Reed, one of the collectors there. Let me shout out some of the top collectors who were there in Saint Vincent. Okay, we had Miss Kirby, we had Samantha Goodluck, Sybil Ferdinand. She passed away, rest her soul, Sybil Ferdinand. We have Vincent Reed. Vincent Reed, one of my very closest friends. I actually purchased his collection, so his legacy is part of my legacy. Vincent Reed, Samantha Goodluck purchased her collection as well. Her legacy is part of my legacy. And that's one of the reasons I also keep collecting, because there's other people's legacies and artifacts that makes up this beautiful collection that I have. Okay, back to the cards. We have Indian Bay. Indian Bay has eroded a bit since coastal erosion from Indian Bay, but Indian Bay was a beautiful beach. We have the view of Kingstown. That's a view you can get. That is a view from Kingstown from Lomans Hill. And then we have another athlete, Cameron Cuffey. Cameron Cuffey, again, similarly to you, I would love to have one of your cards autographed. Sadly, one of your cards are not as rare as the Edward Coon because of an error on Cable and Wireless part. But thank you for representing Saint Vincent. Cameron Cuffey was one of our first representatives to the from Saint Vincent to play on the West Indies team in a modern era, so to say. And Cameron Cuffey is exhibited on many of the West Indies phone cards, general cards, but here in Saint Vincent, we also honor him with his own card. And then we had a collage, right? We have Cameron Cuffey. If I'm right, I'm not sure who this is. Maybe it's Jacinta Ballantyne or Skitty Francis. I'm not sure. Shout out to our netball. Netball is excellent in St. Vincent. We got a St. Vincent Girls High School being represented right here. And then we have someone playing a steel pan, which is part of our carnival culture, which you're going to learn about in a bit. Another person who should have been captured and immortalized on our phone cards, maybe 3 people. One, Adonal Foyle. Shout out to my brother, my big brother, my friend Adonal Foyle. Played with the Golden State Warriors, played 15 years in the NBA. The other few years with Orlando Magics. He is intellect. He is a advocate for the needy with the Kerosene Lantern Foundation. He is a philanthropist. So this is a person, an individual should have been captured on our Caribbean phone card. Originally from Canawan, the Grenadines, the island of Canawan, grew up on Union Island, and then migrated to the U.S. and excelled at basketball. Next person, we have Sancho Little. Sancho Little is one of our phenomenal athletes. Track and field, netball, dominated basketball, 2014 European Player of the Year, won many European championships, played with the Houston Comets. She played with the Atlanta Dream. She's a Hall of Famer at the University of Houston. Like, these are the individuals we should have put on our phone cards. And I don't know why we didn't. I don't know the process. Maybe I'll learn at some point, but we did not. Okay? But for those who are on it, Cameron Cuffey, Edward Coombs, our netball players, big up yourself wherever you did, right? That's what we'll say. Wherever you did, big up yourself. So, you're immortalizing phone cards, and we cherish you. Now we have some newer athletes who are dominating, right, the stage. But before we get a new athlete, here's another athlete that we honored, the Ballantyne brothers. One of my claim to fame is I am a former Vincentian national basketball player. And the year I was awarded or nominated for Junior Sportsman of the Year in St. Vincent, my seat was right next to Pavinus Ballantyne. And as a young boy, I was like starstruck to someone who I see on the news every single day, because these brothers were the OECS half marathon champions. OECS means the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. They were the best half marathon runners in the OECS, represented us in the Olympic. Another athlete that should have been on a phone card, Kiniki Alexander. Another athlete, she carried our flag many times in the Olympics, should have been on a phone card. Again, I do not know why, right? We're going to go into some of our nature series. This is also a decade of the environment. This is one of the, I don't want to use the word rare, but it's a more difficult card to find. The way this card was also created is that the top plastic on the card was easy to be removed. They came in a 6 series and an 8 series. This one is a exhibition card, no control. And we have our chief. Must take this out. Our national hero, Joseph Chatelier, the Garifuna. And he is immortalized on this card. In the back it says commemorative card. The bicentennial of the death of Carib Chief Joseph Chatelier, 14 March 1795. Love this card. Vincentians love that card. Again, thank you for preserving that on a phone card. And then let's segue into our carnival. If you're ever in St. Vincent, you want to be in St. Vincent, around the last week of June, first week of July for our Vinci Mass. If you're a reveler, if you love calypso, if you love soca music, look into those things. If you love steel drums, if you love masqueraders, if you like a great party, right? These are the cards that capture those. This is one of my favorite cards. It also represents Rastafarianism. My dad is a Rastafarian. Shout out to Clive Bishop. Bishai, big up yourself, right? And the mass and the artisans are so good to create that. If anyone remember watching this mass live, I don't know exactly what year it is. I'm guessing it's 1994, right? If anyone remembers this, comment also, right? Let me know who created it, whether it's Nelson Block or Blondie Birds or Friends, or I don't know, right? My dad took me on Tuesday to Carnival to see the mass, and back then mass, was a little bit more scary, so I used to hide between his legs, right? But shout out to my dad doing that. We also have 20 years anniversary. I'm going to take this one out. 20-year anniversary, 97. 20-year anniversary. It said 20th anniversary of Vinci Mass, June 77 to 97. We got a big, next year would be 2027. So that's going to be a massive event. So make sure you're in Vinci Mass next year for another commemorative year. Right? We also had a series, 10, 20, and 40 series, right? And this is paintings that's depicting our masqueraders, Monday shirt band, steel drums, music, and our Calypsonian or our soca monarch. Shout out to our soca. Right now, all the songs are being, this is a 303. The Artist's Impression of Carnival by Dinks Johnson. Dinks Johnson, never met you. Maybe I haven't, didn't know it was you. Would love the opportunity to meet you, Dinks Johnson, and have something like this autographed, because these are, as again, memorabilia and artifacts of our culture. So I love that. Funny thing with this series, this is for the phone card heads, right? This series is series 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. Right? Raina Sackler and I, if you don't know who Raina is, go back to our past video. I did an interview with my best friend, my best phone card friend. So they said, Raina, he believes that there's a $5 card that was axed. It's somewhere. Because why would a series start at 2? 2, 3, 4. There should be 1, 2, 3, 4. So the $5 card was not, for some reason, not published. Right? Or maybe it was published and it was vetoed, so to say. I am not sure. Right? We have our cricket series, probably one of the most famous cricket series we had in Saint Vincent the yesteryear. Right? The West Indies versus Australia. We had our itinerary. And then we have the beautiful sunset cricket stumps. Those are awesome. I love those cards. So those are GPT cards. GPT means the magnetic strip means that back when you put it in the booth, they had a magnetic strip on the back. I showed you that earlier. And then from there, we segue into chip cards. The white test card I showed you earlier was there as, hey, let's see if this hardware work before we put them onto the corners, these kiosks, because we're going to segue into chip cards. I personally do not like chip cards that much because they are harder to find in great condition because they weren't finished the same way. So we have our first series, Peter's Hope series, right? Peter's Hope Estate is on the leeward side. It's pretty much the end of South Leeward, beginning of Central Leeward, the leeward side area of Saint Vincent, and that estate is more Central Leeward. The estate was captured here. Why do I have different ones? Because the chips are different, right? The batch numbers are different. These cards came out in different batch numbers, and the chip sometimes is black or red, right? We have our Byra. When I look at a beautiful black sand beach, and close to Byra is also the Black Point, right? The Byra Tunnel, again, another piece of our tourist, our natural beauty that should have been captured on the phone card that was not captured. Someone's going to have to answer that question for me, why we did not do more of our natural beauty. This card belongs to Saint Vincent. It was a general card. Remember, I said general cards are cards that were created with one picture, but the control were different for each island, right? We then finally decided to capture our beautiful parrot, which I think should have been captured on a GPT magnetic card. We captured it on a chip card. The Vinci parrot, let me put it this way. And the Vinci parrot, the Amazonian gildingi, the national bird of Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, chosen because of its beauty, nicknamed the Vinci. It is found only in the wild in our country. Only in Saint Vincent you can find the Amazonian gildingi, the Vinci, right? Then we have our public library. This public library is significant. One of the only phone card exhibition that I can remember took place at the top of this library, the old public library. I used to go here 3 times a week, 2 times a week to practice my French, right? Alliance Française. The Alliance Française was here, the French Alliance. So we go there and practice our French. And then we have our Supreme Court. This is our Supreme Court, the courthouse, right? This card, very difficult to find, in great condition because it would have been pushed in and out of a booth a lot more. Continue with our building series. We have our St. George's Cathedral. We have the barracks, the police headquarters, right? And with our nature series, we have Falls of Belen. That should have been captured on a GPT card, again, in my opinion. And the Oria salt pond. This is a salt pond, natural salt pond that was created by the volcano, where the rough Atlantic waves would hit the walls of that pit, so to say, and it would cascade into that pool and create a lovely spot for you to swim. I was there a year ago and loved it. I've never been to the Falls of Belen, so while I visit Trinity Falls, I hope to visit the Falls of Belen also. All right, and we're finishing up with what came after, right? The prepaid cards. The cards that most of our young people will remember. You scratch the back, right? You put in all these numbers, especially if you're going to call your parents in New York or your family or your friends or somewhere in the diaspora, then you use these cards. These are the cards that probably still linger a bit, maybe in somebody's barrel or box or pouch somewhere. They came in different denominations, and the denominations on the front, they were not as beautiful as our GPT and chip cards. They were more generic, and they came in different sizes. These were also our first set of cards when they introduced prepaid card. 15, 25, 50, 75. We also had a netball card, a generic card as well. We call that, again, a general card. On the back, it will tell you Saint Vincent, that this one is from Saint Vincent, right? A lot of times as collectors, you can also look at the currency and it will tell you, it will help you as well. These are another set of cards. I am looking for these sets. These were listed and created for the Eastern Caribbean. And if you have any of these, I love to have those because they're difficult to find also. We have another representation of our churches, right? This one has our, if you're Vincentian, you know exactly what this is. If you walk in from the convent, right? St. Joseph Convent or the Victoria Park, you know where you're coming through that road, okay? That is our Catholic church. Then we have our series again, Aqueduct. These are different cards, different series, and our sugar mill. Sugar plantations has always been a big thing on the island. One of the things the colonizers focused on was sugar, right? Another thing we had was cotton, spices. So agriculture has always been a big thing in St. Vincent. Cotton was more St. Kitts, Sea Island cotton, indigo, those were more St. Kitts. When in St. Vincent was a banana, was a root crops, was a sugar. Those were more Vincentian. Beautiful artistry. We saw boat. This is to celebrate our maritime. We're building our sailing boat builder. You already seen that one, which is the sugar mill. And then we have an artist series. This artist series also not a generic card or general card. And then it will tell you where it's from. Obviously, these are from St. Vincent. They are different variants. A little bit more. We had for a little while, we had singular in St. Vincent. I am missing the other denominations. So look around my Vincentians. If you have more of this card, let me know. I love the opportunity to get these cards. And then we had to be free as Cable and Wireless moved out, and this beginning to transition from Cable and Wireless to Lime, and then Lime to Flow. We have these cards, another general card, cricket card, harder to find. Our cricket cards are difficult to find because they're cricket enthusiasts who collect these cards. Not as phone cards collector, but as cricket enthusiasts, right? We got Brian Lara. We have these Christmas cards from Saint Vincent. And a lot of things with these cards, you can see they are actually double up. You can get an extra minutes on the back, right? We have here some more of our general cards. These are the series, the Carnival series, 2000, year 2000. So here's your Carnival series from year 2000. This is Rillen Hill, right? This is another one, another church I think should have been captured in an earlier card setting, card type, which is a GPT or chip card. That was not. Okay. We had some companies, some third-party companies. I'm missing the 20. There's a purple one to this. That is a $20 card. I need that. And here's a very special card. This card is a Reach One card. I'm going to take this out, show it to you. The Reach One card was used specifically for messaging. When people start leaving voice messages, when people have pagers or beepers, you leave a voice message, you can use this card to access your message. The Reach One card is a very difficult card to find because it's not just a phone card, it's a messaging card, right? We have scenery of our local people, what we do, our ice box, so to say, guys playing soccer on the beach, football on the beach, the things we do as local Vincentians. And then we went into the Digicel cards. Digicel had their cards. These are cards you use to put monies on your phone to top up. Right, I tell you to top up. You got to add more money to your phone. Digicel came in, broke up the monopoly of Cable and Wireless, and then nothing was the same. Right, we have some more Digicel cards from Saint Vincent. Another singular cricket series. Beautiful general cards. We have some Be-Free, Cable and Wireless, and we have a general card from Saint Vincent. Live the passion. Tell them about it. Cricket cards. We finishing up. You can see we have the Snowman, another general card. It'll tell you based on SVD. That's our code for our airport. That's where we at. These are general cards. Carnival is a big part of our culture. If you're a carnivalist, again, Vinci Mass has begun. Make sure you're listening to Saint Vincent Vincentian soca music. You know, the Skinny Fabulous, the Child Ministers, the Fireman Hooper, the Bumanis, the Problem Child. Go and find their music. Mason Maid, my favorite artist, Mason Maid. Pecos, Gregory K. Like, go and listen to those music, Vincentian music. It's very good, very fun. The Mysticals, the OG Parks, go listen to those guys. I'm from Camden Park, so I got to big up my Camden Park people as well. But you have to listen to Vinci music, Vinci soca if you're a carnivalist. And then I have a little collection of SIM cards. These are Digicel and Cable and Wireless SIM cards. They are still attached. I collect these cards because they are Vincentian. Usually I do not collect GSM cards. If I do, I use them for trade or to sell to buy the other cards that I need for my collection. But these are some old school GSM. So if you also have some GSM cards with the SIM attached, I would love the opportunity to have them from you, whether it's by trade or by purchase. But as we see, as we wrap things up, my Vincentian collection is very advanced. There are a few cards that I'm missing. If you have cards that I'm missing, or if you have cards that are rare, if you have cards you do not want anymore, contact me. I'll put my email address below. You can reach out to me as well. And let me know. Let me know if you have these cards. But I wanted to start with Saint Vincent and show you that Caribbean phone cards tells a tale, right? Caribbean phone cards tell a tale, and that tale is usually cultural. It tells you about our culture. It tells you about our history. It tells you about our people. And why I collect Caribbean phone cards is because Caribbean phone cards is near and dear to my heart. They represent a time when I grew up. They depicted things that I visit or want to visit, places I want to visit, places I've thought about visiting in my mind that I never thought I can afford to visit. And more importantly, I think us Caribbean people, whether it's because of our financial problems or our harsh weather, our weather can be very harsh at times, we have not done a great job at preserving our history and showing our history. So my journey, as I continue my journey being the #1 Caribbean phone card collector in the world, is not to say that I'm the #1 phone card collector in the world, but I want to collect the Caribbean only because I believe a Caribbean artifact should be with a Caribbean person. And maybe, hopefully one day I can have a Caribbean phone card museum, Saint Vincent and Grenadines, and you can come and see cards from all over the Caribbean that shows you our natural beauty, our culture, our people, our struggles, where we have came from and where we are now and where we hope to go. And we can celebrate the Caribbean, and we can attract more tourists and more people to say, hey, we love the Caribbean. We want to visit it more. We love the people of the Caribbean. And that is my passion and my goals through my Caribbean phone cards. Again, I'm a collector. So if you have cards and you want to dispose of them, I don't need them anymore, I would love to have them. I'll put my email address below. You can contact me via email. You also can reach us on Instagram. Reach my Instagram Caribbean phone card channel. It's on Instagram. You can message me there. You can reach us on Facebook. You also have Caribbean phone card channel is also on Facebook. You can find us there. We have a private group as well, the Caribbean phone card, and then I have a circle where some of the biggest phone card collectors are that has excellent Caribbean phone cards. Let me know, comment below. Let me know what is the next island I should look into. What is the next island I should show you my collection from and explain to you. Let me know what is your favorite Caribbean island and why. And we the Caribbean people, we are proud people. We appreciate you. And I will see you on the next episode of Tiny Canvases of the Caribbean.
Saint Vincent, my homeland, you gave me no mansion, no gold, no diamond, yet I love you a million for the things that you have to offer. Is more than my heart's desire. Lovely beach, tropical breeze, always there within my reach. I love you, Saint Vincent, me sweet little island, Saint Vincent. I love you, Saint Vincent, home of the blessed Saint Vincent. Saint Vincent, Saint Vincent, I love you. Can look at the sunrise, can look at the sunset. Sweet Mother Nature, such beauty, such splendor. Can live my life without fear. Freedom to go